podcast where we talk about smarts.
Nonsense shit. Fuck, dude.
And we act like people listen. That's what we do. Thanks for being here, Pop.
Did I say how I hope that people don't listen? Because we got mixed incentives here. I want to reveal a lot of trade secrets for the diary entry of building this company. So
Let it rip, dude. We got a 4-day buffer. And here's the thing with that, Pop. All right. When we launched our manifesto to the world that we were creating Brain Blast, the website, the prototype, the video of me laying it all out there, my dad, we probably shouldn't be talking about this, but whatever, dude. My dad, the lawyer, was like, don't do that. And we did. And it's probably fine, right?
Well, fuck, it actually probably helped us because it threw them off the track. They think we're building a TikTok Duolingo, dude.
Easy 4-day buffer. Easy.
Oh,
easy.
Wait. Sorry, not allowed to say what we're doing?
I don't know.
Because a lot of my talking points are exactly what we're doing.
Okay, well, here's what we do. Let's do like an 8 to 10 minute preamble. Maybe if you have any other threads.
Bury it for the people that care enough to compete with us and build a company. No, dude.
There are people, Horatio, of one. Some people that still watch like our first 5 videos explaining like how to hire folks overseas or like how we edit podcast clips. He like still sends that to people. Like,
really?
But
dude, that's what happens when you make one video that's intended to do well. Probably our only video in history that we intended to do well, and it did well.
Well, I'm
gonna give you.
I hated it. So
yeah,
331 not do well episodes and 1 trade secret. Let's wait. What you got for preamble?
I didn't even really hate it. I kind of had fun explaining our stuff. Preamble, dude. Well, fuck, dude. You bring up preamble and then.
Is it nice out there? We had like our best day ever yesterday. 79, first day of spring.
We're cooking. Oh. Well, I went out to West Side Highway because I watch sunsets now. I'm watching the sunset, and dude, it's mobbed with people. A lot of beautiful people. And dude, all I didn't AirPod, didn't anything, dude. I was taking in the sights, the sounds, everything. And to a certain extent, it kind of got creepy because like people would sit next to me, like these 2 girls sat next to me, and they were just talking about like their love life and dating and everything. And I'm like on the bench right next to them, and I'm just staring at people, but like they're like 3 feet away and just talking about details of like their struggles and everything. And I clearly don't have AirPods in, so it's like unless I don't speak English, I understand everything they're saying. And it was just I've never been like that close with nothing to do but eavesdrop. And I guess people in New York just don't care, but like, well, I learned she was struggling. She said she's a more like in person. She connects better in person. She's like, I just want to meet people in person during the day. I was like, fuck, dude, is this my chance? I didn't do it though. Wasn't feeling it, but stared at a lot of people, and
you're
it's kind of creepy.
Just walking down the West Side Highway, no AirPods, arms behind your back like an old man.
It's a real art to like how to stare without staring. It's crazy. Like,
dude, couldn't be a better preamble to throw off the trade secrets. The art of staring
without staring. Because I don't like wearing sunglasses. I don't know, something about my face. They're always cockeyed Joe. I feel like when I wear them on my face, I don't like sunglasses. But sunglasses are the cheat code because then, well, our buddy says not wearing them keeps you honest. But I kind of want to be dishonest and fuck, what does that mean? He's in a relationship, so he can't be like staring at chicks. So not wearing sunglasses means he has to stare in the right directions and not at other women. But most people on the West Side Highway, a lot of them will have sunglasses so they can just get after it. But I got to do some fucking darting eye algorithm so that it's like I look and you see something good, and then you're like, oh, I want to look at that again, but I can't immediately go back. So you gotta like pretend to want to care about looking at other people. And, dude, it's crazy. It's crazy out here on the West Side Highway.
let's tie a bow on that.
Yeah.
Let me pull a thread from there. I also went out yesterday, had a similar like goddamn like it's so nice outside. I was riding a scooter to lunch or something because my Super 73, my car, has a flat tire still. I gotta fix that actually. Um, no, you don't take it to the shop. Shut up. Yeah.
No, it's like $100 every time I go. At
Similarly,
least.
yeah, austerity measures over here. Similarly, yeah, I was just like, dude, I got podcasts piping in my ears 18 hours a day. Let me just do nothing for once. Sit alone with my thoughts. Maybe process some stuff. Think about some things.
Well,
And that's what I did. I have gotten back on my Chinese lessons when I walk the dog. Those are fun. So now I walk the dog for a 30-minute Chinese lesson, and that ends up being a longer walk for the dog as well. And I'm a sunflower, so
and your
yeah.
dog's learning Chinese too. Bad
Yeah.
Chinese.
Yeah. I'm not going to practice here yet. Soon I'll
Oh,
practice.
I almost came in for you, but I only know. Uh,
你好吗？
谢谢谢谢
Oh, 谢谢
谢谢.
谢
Yeah,
谢
there he is.
谢谢. That's
Um,
thank you.
Chinese.
Dude, I was at the Comedy Cellar in New York last week. I don't think we got into this, and I want to research this guy more. But this super, super white Irish guy goes up on stage, and his archetype is this kind of like nervous, little bit of a guy. And he tells an opening joke or two, and then he just goes, 谢谢, like really well. And these two Chinese women in the front start cracking up. And then he hits back at them with like perfect Chinese. And they go into this conversation in perfect Chinese. And then he basically threw out the rest of his set, and he was like, sorry, for everybody else in the room, like this is what we were talking about. And I don't know, he had like lived in China for a long time and was filming like a comedy series there where they could see if this Irish guy could go to China and learn enough Chinese to like do a set. It was the most different set I've ever seen, and it was hilarious.
Huh.
That's it. I don't know his name. I'll have to find out his name.
Because I feel like there are a lot of Chinese people in New York, so I wonder if that's like his thing. As he always
I was
says
thinking maybe
picks up on it.
like chances are there's a Chinese person in the room.
Right.
But they were in the front, and like a couple people before him had done crowd work on them. So they were warm.
They're just getting worked, dude.
Yeah, they were getting
two
worked.
Chinese girls.
Well, because
dude,
one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let you tell me about what? Working Chinese girls? Because that doesn't sound like a good thread. I think it might be time for trade secrets. 8 minutes and 50 seconds in.
When it gets so bad that you have to reveal trade secrets because that's better than getting canceled for work in Chinese girls. No, dude. Well, okay, I'll drop it.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. I'm glad.
Let's talk about Evan Spiegel. Let's talk. I'll find out his name. I want to watch his show that he did in China, and then I'll report back. It was a really unique set, so that was cool, and his Chinese was really good. Yeah. So I realized recently that I'm sitting with Evan Spiegel, dude. I'm sitting with Evan Spiegel. I go to bed last night. I wake up. I'm texting Evan Spiegel. And what I mean by that is, dude.
Full blown speak.
Well, yeah.
Watching me drag around little
yeah.
boxes, dude.
Yeah. Basically, I don't know what trade secrets you want to get into. We can get into all of them. But you've just been toying around with like really early creative product decisions for Brain Blast.
Well, I realized we have this problem at Brain Blast where...
Wait, can we talk about Snapchat V1 and done? I don't think we ever did that. We realized it like a Friday or two ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, Peekaboo?
Oh, that's what it was. It was Evan Spiegel on How I Built This, which was locked because it's like a premium episode that How I Built This does now, and Smartless Pod does it. It really pisses me off. They lock up an episode for like a week, but you can see it in your feed. It's got a padlock on it.
Mm.
And so we saw that come out on like a Sunday night, padlocked up, Evan Spiegel, and How I Built This, perfect for Brain Blast R&D stage. But it's locked up. Anyway, week goes by, we finally listened to it, and I didn't like what I heard. I didn't.
Mm.
And the reason I didn't like what I was hearing is because Evan Spiegel, founder of Snapchat, formerly known as Peekaboo, was basically talking about how nothing has gone super right or well since they invented sending photos in chat. And I was like,
Disappear.
that disappear. Sorry. Basically, the original incredible feature of Snapchat is still like the feature, and everything else going on in Snapchat right now is just like, I don't know. And then also, yeah, they're spending a lot of time on like Snapchat spectacles. It's been like 10 or 12 years of R&D, and it's just like, Peekaboo. They really did sending pictures well.
I think the problem was we watched Diary of a CEO, I think, with Spiegel, and it was basically, he was like, wow, this guy's a product genius, because he talked about their design decisions where it was like exploding photo. You want to be like really quick, so it opens to the camera, and then when they wanted to add video, you just hold down the picture button, and it was like really intuitive product design, and then added stories and all this other stuff. So we're like, oh, this guy's a genius. But then we realized, like, since then, he's kind of just been a flop magnet. And I mean, maybe not. We don't really use the app. It just seems super bloated, and it's got like
it was just a reminder. It was just a reminder that all you have to do, I say it like it's easy, but all you have to do is one thing really well.
Yeah. Pretty much the case for all of life. And so he nailed that. Instagram, same thing. It's just like, hey, we're just a pictures app. You just post pictures. Granted, they stole stories from Snapchat, and then they added like reels
stories
from TikTok.
Were good.
So they just kind of like, I know, but that's none of them inventing anything from scratch. That's just like taking other brilliant product design stuff and stealing it. So yeah, literally just like all these apps just do one thing amazingly well. So it's like, oh, can we just make a study game amazingly well? Also, dude, since I'm Yes Man and I'm going to events and like talking to people, and they ask me what I do, I tell them like, hey, I'm making an app. And they're like, okay, what's the app? One, like making an app also sounds like something a child would do. Like it kind of sounds like dumb. And I'm like, but it's a tech company. And so they're like, okay, what's the app do? And I'm just like, it's like a study game. And like instantly fucking eyes glaze over, and just like, I don't care about this anymore. And it's interesting to me. And I know it's like, you got to sell it, or like got to be interesting for people to be interested. But I kind of don't want to be. But also like, it's cool because sometimes I'll describe it in a bad way, and then like they'll repitch it back to me. And so some girl, I was like, it's a study game. There's like questions, and then you compete against friends. She's like, oh, so it's like Quizlet, but a game. I'm like, yeah, it's like Quizlet, but a game. Me? So yeah, if we can just master the game, that is the goal. And so yeah, I've been trying to figure it out. And also on the Spiegel angle, Spiegel's a product designer, and so I've just been like figuring out, we got this problem. Okay, this is the problem I was going to bring up before. The problem is we have one developer and two of us, and what do we do? Because developers doing all the work, and so what's left is product design. Like, how does the product work? What does it look like? So I've been trying to learn how to be a product designer, which is kind of cool, because new skill added to the arsenal. And so looking at good product designers, one of them Spiegel, don't want to sound stereotypical, but the other one, really good one, Steve Jobs.
Oh.
Steve Jobs.
Oh.
Apple.
Yeah,
Steve
that
Jobs.
was unexpected for me and the audience. A little under the breath, Steve Jobs.
Yeah, he's been under my breath, dude. He's been real nice. I've been watching like a lot of the people in that early design team. Like there's a good like couple hours, like their 10-year anniversary of the iPhone. So they're all telling stories. It's interview with Scott Forstall, and I think he ran like the UI UX stuff for the iPhone, and like a bunch of other early iPhone people, just like talking about all their decisions. And it's like you look at an iPhone now and you're like, oh yeah, like makes sense. We've had it for 15 years or whatever, 20 years almost. But at the time, it's like you're coming from BlackBerry, which is like, okay, we're just gonna basically take your computer and just make it smaller. And like that's the phone. It's got these little fucking dinky little Lego keyboard things.
Actually, insanely small keys.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right. I don't even know how people used it. And they kind of talked about this guy, Scott Forstall and Steve Jobs, like looking at people use their phones, and it just like they were straining the whole time and it looked miserable. You kind of only used it for work. So like to take that and then put it onto a screen.
Oh, dude. Mwah. You just blew hearts all over the...
I love the iPhone.
Did a triangle and...
Yeah. Well, no one's going to see that. Hearts on Riverside.
There. Well, you can put some... Sorry, they go from BlackBerry.
It reminds me of a similar problem we have now, where our problem is to do SAT questions, because you're playing a game. If you're doing a hard question, usually if you're on the SAT, you'll use a pen and paper and like jot down your notes and like kind of solve the problem on the pen and paper. We don't have a pen and paper, or we want to be able to solve it on the go, and the toilet is sort of our metric. So how do we like take the pen and paper and put it onto your phone screen? Well, the problem with that is you quickly like try writing something in Apple Notes, and you get 3 letters in and you run out of space. So it feels like this similar idea of like, okay, we just have to accept the constraint that somehow we're going to make it as good or better in the phone as like writing with pen and paper. And how do we do that? And it's kind of a fun puzzle, nowhere near like the level of challenge of obviously like iPhone stuff, but like taking this Mac keyboard and putting it on the iPhone on such a smaller screen that is just touch. Like at the time that was crazy, because like to touch before that, it was like a super hard touch screen. You had to reinvent touch screens. But then like there's the obvious problem of like you got fat fingers, and so how do you hit these like, I don't even know, dude, if you pull up like you're texting on a phone, like
what happens?
Well, just like looking at the keys, I mean, your thumb's like fucking a square inch, and you're trying to hit this baby.
Did you do a short on that?
I think I did an early short. I don't know exactly what happened.
Let's get you back.
But like
it was basically they run like some little algorithm, right, or something to like find the probability that you were trying to actually tap what you tapped on, and it's just always right. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah. So what happened was when you just like, if the keyboard actually functioned like you see it, you would miss keys all the time. It'd just be a fucking disaster. And so they realized this was like the number one problem at the time, is like you can't use the keyboard. So they took all the designers and engineers, and they're like, hey, the next 2 weeks we're just going to crack how to make the keyboard. And so like they tried all these like different designs, and none of them were working. It was just like a big pain in the ass until this one guy reading his book. What the fuck is his name? Reading so many Apple books. Hold on, dude. I got it. I want it. Ken Kosienda. Creative selection in his book. But he comes in and he's like, okay, well, yeah, if you're just assuming the keyboard is static and you hit a key, like it's really hard to hit the right key. But if we take what we know, say you hit the letter T, what are the likely next letters that you will then hit? Because there are only so many like T.
You're not going TQ.
Yeah, you're not. So TQ, you can literally like make that infinitely small on the keyboard. And now you make TH infinitely bigger.
Oh, to catch your finger on the next one.
It catches your finger.
Ah,
so it's doing probabilities on what the next letter will be, and then it proportionally makes that bigger.
Yeah. Huh.
And I'm like, wow. And obviously you don't see that. That's like behind the scenes. But it's so genius, and it makes the product so good. And I'm just like, God, there's got to be some creative solution for us. The same idea. Like, honestly, the phone screen should be big enough to like jot your notes down and solve math problems. But like right now it's impossible. And so I'm just like trying to like deconstruct different apps and how they do it. And no one really does it where you're like writing.
Well, so
easily.
let me take one step back. a couple cool things because we were experimenting with this, right? In when I was in New York, we were doing all kinds of writing on Snapchat screens, on paper, and a couple interesting things that are related to what you're saying is like when we made the pencil tip, like the radius, really really small, it got better. Um, as opposed to like a really fat marker. But the other thing that was interesting was this is kind of like a non-technical thing, but right, we were sitting around, we were testing these hand-drawn finger markers on Figma, on Procreate, on Snapchat. And then we had been sitting for like 2 hours and we were like, wait a minute. Apple already does this in Notes. Like you can already write in Apple Notes. So like we don't have to come up with a custom solution yet. Apple has this figured out. We do some research and like for instance, there's this thing called Pencil Kit, dude. Pencil Kit. That basically it's like a thing you can call, a package that Apple makes public to their developers, and then you immediately just have like the same writing that we have in Apple Notes, and it's pretty good.
Right.
So it's just been kind of fun to like learn, dude. It's been
Nice.
fun to learn.
Well, so the nice thing is like, okay, Apple Notes kind of gets us there. Like at least we can write on screen. But then you're kind of stuck. And basically, this is like what Snapchat is. It's basically like you have your canvas, but it's just a screen. Versus you go to something like Figma and you have this infinite canvas. It's like, okay, well, we can make the question turn into an infinite canvas, and then and that's cool. But then like the next problem I have is like you're kind of like two finger swiping to get around the screen, and it might
Right.
be a
It's
bitch.
like you're writing with one finger. You're writing math problems with one finger. And then when you run out of space, you have to drag around the screen with two fingers, which honestly is already pretty slick, just as a basic functionality.
Right, you can test this out in Notes, and it's pretty good. I think, and we'll definitely do that. I think the North Star that we really want is it's got to be as fast as doing it with pen and paper. And so to do that, that's where I'm. Last night I was like,
And then
maybe
Spiegel.
maybe it's just when you approach the border, it somehow knows, kind of like when you're dragging an object in like Google Docs or I was doing it in Figma and stuff. But you drag it to the edge of the screen and it automatically like starts scrolling the screen with you. Just do the same here, but with handwriting. So when it detects it's really close to the screen, okay, it'll just bump it over or it'll smooth scroll with you. I don't know what the exact feel will be. Those are the two main options. Like Google Docs will jump, and then Figma, for example, will slide with you. But there's something there where it goes from I ran out of space, now I need to swipe over, get the space, and then swipe back to like see the big picture, to now I just write and it goes with me, and then I just got to swipe back. So it goes from two swipes to one swipe, which might feel small, but like it's literally half the swipes, and the experience, the feeling is so much better. I assume it might be a bitch of like it accidentally scrolls, and so there's like a lot of fine tuning probably. But kind of like going through all these Apple videos, I'm realizing like so much of it is feel and like these small things that make such a big impact. And this was kind of overwhelming right now in the early stages, is like everything is so rough and janky. Like we're just trying to like prove out that the game can work. But it's like it's hard to not be overwhelmed by like the magnitude of things
Well,
that you want
right,
to add.
because like to get to where you want to go, the first step, like tomorrow, is can we have a marker button that we press and now we can scribble on the screen? There's just like all of these little intermediate steps. Oh, I got sirens. To every big problem. We were sitting for lunch with OG guest of the pod, Ian Lapham, a front end designer, developer.
You
He
know,
described what? Oh, I didn't want to necessarily blow his cover, but it's been blown.
he's on the podcast.
Oh, he was on the pod. Sorry, dude. Um, he said it nicely, which is like when you're building a product, when you're building an app like this from scratch, it's like every little thing feels like one tiny little change or improvement. Then a couple weeks go by and you look back and it's like this thing
Yeah.
where even 10 days ago, like the app didn't work at all. And now it's like 80% actually there, and I can send it to people and I can actually play the game.
Right.
But it
It'll
is
work
overwhelming.
forever.
It is overwhelming the amount of
Well,
stuff.
we'll just like, and we haven't done any UI stuff, which I'm like, it's hard to weigh how important each part is. Because right now, like the ultimate problem is like I'm looking at this dashboard thing, which is beat, and I have 5 people whose their turn it is. Like it is not like the ball is in their side of the court. And I'm just waiting, meaning they don't care enough to play the game right now. And the question is, okay, why don't they care? And there are just like so many different like reasons for this. Is it like, is the UI beat? Are the questions beat? Like right now we just have sort of easy questions that are like 5 to 10 seconds. Do we just need the hard questions back? But you can't do the hard until you do like the Apple kit, but then the Apple kit might take fine tuning and like these multiple scroll methods. It's like there's just so many reasons why the game could be broken. You just gotta kind of like take a best guess and then just go that way, and you know, just kind of queue up things in whatever order you think might work out. So it's just like a totally new skill set, which is, I don't know, it's kind of fun to learn.
Gardevoir! I don't know. It's kind of fun to learn.